Hey everyone, this is Blackhawk SC and welcome back to this channel. Today we'll be looking at the Vapor Eagle 55-ton clan battle mech that was just recently released, and I'll demo a build that I think is probably the most interesting among the variants. This video was made possible by a generous donation by a longtime viewer, and if you would like to support the channel, mech packs are a great way to do so. The Vapor Eagle, in short, is the best medium to have been released in a while. It's a clan battle mech which, all else being equal, is superior to both IS battle mechs and clan omni-mechs. It has a 400 rating engine cap, thus avoiding the one big pitfall of some clan battle mechs. Every variant has a good mix of hardpoints, and because of tonnage and slot flexibility, you can think of at least 2 and often more builds that will work on each one. Because of this, I had no trouble creating distinctly different builds for each one of the variants I own. A lot of the hardpoints are torso mounted, so in many cases we can avoid placing weapons in the arms. When you peek out of cover, the arms is the first and last thing that enemies see, so they're always vulnerable to getting shot off. But if you do place weapons on the arms, the mounts aren't terribly low, making them better than, say, the Gargoyle and Executioner. Defensively, its torso hitboxes are well spread out across the front. At first, I was afraid that it could have big side torsos, but they turned out not to be a problem. Although it's tall, it's not that wide, which makes isolating hitboxes a little bit more difficult for opponents. It has crook jump jets, which further enhances its ability to spread damage and reposition. Guys, this is the complete package. I mean, there are mechs out there that are more specialized for certain things, but in the solo queue when you need a build that works on all maps, if you're piloting a clan medium, only maybe the Hunchback 2CA will challenge its versatility. I know a lot of you guys have seen my obsolete mechs video. If you didn't, I'll link it below in the description. With the Vapor Eagle, I'd put the Stormcrow in that list as well now. The Stormcrow used to be the best medium hands down when it first came out. Over the years, it was eventually replaced in every specialized role that it could play. But at least it arguably remained the clan medium with the best build variety. Now even this last point is no longer true. If I could point out one weakness of the Vapor Eagle, it's the arms. Again, they're not terribly low, but because they are somewhat big compared to the rest of the mech, they can get blown off pretty easily. The Vapor Eagle also doesn't have very many high-mounted direct damage weapon hardpoints, like the Hunchback 2C, but it also doesn't come with giant side torsos of the Hunchback either. It's a struggle to find bad things to say about this mech, and overall it's quite solid. I'll show a build for every variant except for the hero, which I neither have nor think is any good. If the rival was the hero of any other medium chassis, it wouldn't be considered that bad. But in the context of other Vapor Eagles, it stands out as being the worst of the bunch due to its reliance on the aforementioned arm-mounted weapons. For the rest of the variants, I know you guys will come up with other good builds, so if you have suggestions, do post them in the comments below. For the one variant, the torso gives us 3 energy and 1 ballistic, so we'll go with the Gauze laser build as shown here. Heavy lasers and Gauze isn't a very common setup, and if you run this build, you'll almost always want to fire the lasers first and then the Gauze. The lasers can double as a sort of targeting laser, which makes sure you're able to hit the target before you release the Gauze round. I don't like left side Gauze very much, since I've grown accustomed to charging the Gauze from the right mouse button. But the heavy laser duration in this case makes it easier, because I have a little time to remind myself that the Gauze is on the left side, and bound to the left mouse button. When you first start out with this build, you may want to drop the ERML for another heatsink, since this will be very hot until you've gotten some cool run and heatgen nodes. In the 2, a lot of people will run the 5-Yak-2 build, which I think is fine, but it's pretty hot and sustained DPS isn't all that great due to jams and heat. It's also a left stack build, which doesn't work well in the solo queue NASCAR, and you have to arm lock to get the damage onto a single component. However, it's good for suppression, and on drawn out matches on long range maps, it can do very well. My preferred build is 2 Yak-10s and an ERPPC. If you saw my Sunspider Vanguard video, this is almost exactly the same build, which shows you just how much firepower the Vapor Eagle can carry. You have great burst DPS and good sustained DPS with the Yak-10s. Unlike the Yak-2 build, you're not reliant on having cover on a single side, and you can peek either the right or left sides of a building. Furthermore, you can take advantage of the JJ quirks and Pop-Tart for at least 35 points of damage, if not more. For the 3 variant, we're going to use the 3 energy hardpoints on the torsos to run triple ERPPCs. This also gives us a Pop-Tart option, but because 2 of the energy hardpoints are mid-torso level, normally we'll be making side peeks like with other builds. You can also go with triple LPLs, and that would have been my preferred choice when LPLs had significantly better damage per heat than ERPPCs. But that was a long time ago, and now since they're about the same, because ERPPCs give you better range and lower face time, I'd run the ERPPCs instead. The 4 is the only variant without jump jets. but it has a quirk that's used for either ATMs or LRMs. I found that for mediums, LRMs are a little better in the solo queue. Due to their low trajectory, ATMs act more like a direct fire weapon, but with the requirement that you stare at the target until your missiles hit. You're doing up to 72 points of damage with 2 ATM-12s, but as a medium you're potentially taking a lot of return fire as well. I'd prefer ATMs on tankier mechs like the Mad Cat Mark II or Supernova that can afford some staring, and each stare can result in over 120 points of damage. Even though its DPS is lower than ATMs, the LRMs allow you to hit more targets over the course of a match, which for me leads to higher damage overall. When you're in a direct fire situation, the ERMLs can supplement with more damage, and you should look for situations where you can use them, since dual LRM-20s aren't the scariest thing by themselves. No matter if you go for ATMs or LRMs, one of the great things about this build is that it has the speed to quickly reposition to where your missiles have a flight path that's not blocked by some obstacle. The speed is also great for returning to your team when some light decides to come up from behind you. Now let's talk about the A variant, which is the most broken of the Vapor Eagle variants. I say broken not like it's OP, but it changes the way you think about what a medium can do. This Atlas build used to be the premier brawling build for IS. Now take that Atlas, make it go 94 kph and give it jump jets, and you've got the Vapor Eagle-A. This thing is absolutely scary for people who are not expecting that kind of firepower from a medium. Normally it'd be pretty insane to go up against the quad LBX KDK-3, but we do it here with the help of a Jenner. The Vapor Eagle is pretty tanky for a medium, but because a lot of your firepower is in the ARM SRMs, your best defense isn't to spread damage, but to avoid damage altogether by attacking from the back and circling behind less agile targets. With the full skill tree, you can alpha 4 times before needing to cool, even on Tourmaline Desert. That should be enough to take down even the biggest assaults. Because we're so reliant on speed, we're going to sacrifice Artemis for more tonnage for our engine. Without Artemis, the spread on the SRM-6s are going to be big. But in reality, the spread on the SRM-6s with Artemis is still pretty big anyways, so whether you use it or not, SRM-6s are best used at point-blank range. I really wanted to see what the chassis is capable of, so I fully scaled the mech to find out. Firepower is actually going to be the lowest priority tree, and we maximize speed and durability first. Then we go halfway down the cool run nodes and get a few cooldown and heat gen nodes in firepower. We need to get one ammo node for each of our weapon systems. Alright, let's go into a match. In this match on Robolite, what we have done was to go off on their side to first cap Kappa, and as well as to see if we can find a way around the back of the enemy team. We will meet this other Vapor Eagle here, and he has no chance with an ERPPC ranged build, so all we need to do is just to push him and try to get as much CT shots as possible. You can see that even at 100 meters away, the spread is still really high, and we need to get to pretty much point-blank range before all that damage gets concentrated. You can see that he was running a triple machine gun ERPPC build. I'd recommend against running machine guns any less than 4 machine guns on anything, because it just doesn't do that much damage or even crit damage with lower than 4 MGs. I'll also point out in this match I was using a standard XL300 engine, so I'm going a little bit faster than the 94, around the 94 kph with the 295. Because I found that I needed a little bit more SRM ammo, so just downgraded to a 295. We took down the second mech there with the Marauder. You can just see how fast this mech is, just rotating around. Just keep trying to rotate around the back of enemies and seeing if we can catch their rear end. So we are getting ECM jammed here, so we notice there's enemies up close. There's a whole bunch of them up here. There's 3 different mechs. I was thinking maybe I could get close to one of them, but they spotted me and I can't do 1v3. But this Orion comes down here and tries to brawl me with 1 LBX-10 and 2 medium pulse, which I don't know what exactly he was thinking. Maybe he thought it was a medium and he could just out brawl me with that loadout, but that's not wise for him to do that. I don't know. Poor life choices. So we need to cool down, which does take a while on this map especially. We know there's more enemies up there, but I'm trying to find somewhere safer. That Mad Cat was too far away for us to shoot, even though we would have taken less return fire from him, I think. So we took a shot on the Black Lantern. That was the best thing that we could do. So there was too dangerous to go up there, and then we just change our targets and go right to see if we can do something against this Hunchback. It's a 7 ER medium laser Hunchback. I don't know if this person knows that there's ghost heat on it, but he goes down. I missed the CT on that shot, unfortunately. But one of the cool things about this is that the Vapor Eagle is fast enough to take advantage of any situation, to just reposition and find good engagement positions. So even though that Mad Cow was like 275 away, that was the only thing I could shoot. I don't really want to push him because I know there were other mechs over there, and I don't want to like 2v1 or 3v1. I don't want to get into those situations. So I have to take for now I had to take these like range shots, which apparently I killed that awesome with. But yeah, like don't 2v1 other mechs or enemy teams. Try to keep yourself safe. Okay, and mostly it's just clean up now. Keep the Javelin's legs. And all we need to do now is to cap another point, and that ended the match. Well, I hope you guys found this video to be informative, and let me know your thoughts on the Vapor Eagle in the comments below. If you want to see more MWO videos like this, make sure to subscribe to this channel, and I will see you next time.